In 3, 2, 1. Stand by.
Are you ready for a change?
I am talking to you.
Then get ready to explore the quantum possibilities. It's time to transform that outdated paradigm into something universal and new. Time to uncover the truth hidden beneath the veil of lies. A time to think outside the box as we link to a higher consciousness. Welcome to the awakening. And now the hosts of Broadcast Team Alpha, Nori Love and Augie Nost.
Well, hello, galactic listeners and star family. Oh, my stars, you guys, it's Tuesday night. We are so happy to be here as always. The chat room is alight with all kinds of energy, including some guest energy. But, before we get started, I just wanted to ask you, have you ever met that once, maybe twice in a lifetime person? I mean, you didn't have a relationship with them, but there was just something about that person that they were so real, just wide open real. You can understand what they're saying. You know what they're saying. You trust what they're saying. That's like heaven on earth. Keith Anthony Blanchard is that to me. He's so amazing. And he's not only that, but he's also Yanava. Hi, Keith.
Hello.
Hi. So Keith and I are just going to jump in before Augie tells you all kinds of amazing stuff. And we're just going to join our light together. We're joining our co-created light together, and we're just beaming the rays out around the universe, just around the universe for anybody who wants to grab on. And, if you just want to watch from the shadows, that's okay too. We love you. But these rays of light are always out there. They're always available for you. So, Augie, I know you have some scoop on Keith. Is he time traveling again? You know what? He takes off on me in the darndest moments. Well, that's all right. We can wait till we get him back. Well, let's chat let's beam our lights a little bit brighter so we can get Augie back. Ready, Keith? Let's turn it up. Turning up the frequency.
Turning it up.
So while we're waiting for the amazing Augie Nost, I wanted to say a shout out to Knoxville, Tennessee. Margaret is out there at Mind Your P's and Q's. And you want to know who's there? I know, even though you guys are going to say, Nori, those names scrolled up a long time ago. But you know what? Here's who's there. I want to say hi to Margaret. I want to say hi to Charles. Hi, Charles. I want to say hi to Melissa and Marcia and Rick and Vesica and Rocky. Yay! Keith Anthony Blanchard, you are from Tennessee.
I am. I've been here 32 years coming August, actually.
Are you in Memphis? I can't remember.
I'm in Memphis.
You are in Memphis. Of course you're in Memphis. I mean, my goodness. Where else would you
Yeah.
be? Hey!
Hello. Hey, here we are.
Were you time traveling?
No, I ended up about, yes, I'm
You
sorry.
were. You got to stop doing that when we have,
I
somewhere to
didn't
be.
make-
Okay.
Didn't make it back on time, but
So, will you tell us about Keith? We're like waiting on the edge of our seats.
yes, I can. I'll tell you, the listeners here, sit down and listen really close because this is a very special friend of mine, a friend of Nori, and should be a friend of yours by listening to him. He's the founder of the host of Center of Light Radio, and whose now audience has reached into 4 million people. He has written several books, best-selling books even. The first one is The Divine Principle, and then he wrote Anchoring Heaven to Earth, and also For the Love of God, A Spiritual Journey. And there's another one I'm going to mention in just a little bit. And he's a philosopher, a poet, a composer, music and film producer, and sought-after speaker, and he's had some tremendous experiences. He traveled to India and he's become a friend, a personal friend, and a disciple of, think I'm going to pronounce this right, Swami Visvayogi. Oh, that's close.
Good job.
And he has messages from spiritual teachers and extraterrestrial beings for us. Yes, extraterrestrial beings. Because when he was 32, extraterrestrials and celestial beings started to appear to him, teaching him and sharing glimpses of the future, and maybe some suggestions about what we should do to make sure that future actually happens. And he was given messages to pass on to us, mankind, and we are going to hear about all those things here in the next, let's call it 50 minutes. And their messages should be really considered. And we will also hear about the extraterrestrials themselves, what they look like, what it is like being on their ship, and what our future could be like according to them. And now he has a new book out called Homecoming, Crossing the Bridge to the Soul. Oh, folks, this is going to get interesting. Don't go anywhere. Get yourself a deep cup of coffee, sit down, put your feet on the table, and enjoy the journey. You already got it. Yes?
I think people at Mind Your P's and Q's are not going to have coffee tonight.
Oh, well...
They're probably having a nice big glass of wine or beer.
There you go. P's and Q's you mentioned. Yes, Margaret at the P's and Q's in Knoxville, she's going to run the show tonight on the in-house speaker system. So for a packed audience, we're going to enjoy this. And with it, nothing more from me now. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Welcome, Keith.
Thank you for having me. I was looking forward to today and hanging out with you both. And hello, Tina, always being here doing this awesome job. But thank you for having me in this beautiful, the website looks amazing. The chat room's amazing. Very well done. It makes me happy.
Yay, we're glad you're happy. It's so good to have you here. How are you? I just want to catch up with you first before we jump in there. How are you? You've been really busy.
Thank you. Yes, since this bestseller, soon to be bestseller, but this worldwide campaign began. Yeah. I'm getting up at 6 and just blowing and going. I'm on fire. I feel this burning inside of me, and I can't contain it.
Okay. Well, then let's go deep, because I've been waiting all day for this. I heard you on some of your other shows, and you're talking about things more in depth and more, just out there, truthfully, than I've heard you talking about things before. And I'm really loving it. And I want to get to the spiritual aspect, because that's so who you are. But I have got to just ask you one ET question. May I?
By all means. By all means.
Were you ever taken beyond your will or violated?
No.
Good. Wonderful. Okay.
Not one. No.
Excellent.
And it's a very well needed question, actually. Thank you.
Well, I just want to make sure you're safe. Now, my next question is, are all ETs love-saturated divine beings?
Absolutely not.
No, there's some bad ones. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it depends how we slice the pie. If we're calling ETs the little extraterrestrials are the big ones, and we're trying to separate those from demons, then all ETs are good. But if we're clumping anything in the category of that which is not human, then they're not also good. There are different races from around the galaxy. There are races that don't even exist in this bandwidth. We call them demons, devils, whatever we choose to call them. So not all beings that are not human favored or wanting to see the expansion of humanity happen, they would be the bad ones. There are good and bad people everywhere we go in any dimension or bandwidth or reality.
Mm-hmm. So is it true, in extraterrestrial realm that we're speaking, it's the same or similar to here, that, what we think about is what we create. So by virtue of not thinking about them, they will stay away from us?
That would be true, but also someone could have made a contract before they were born, so that when said event would go down, they may not like it. They're going to go kicking and screaming. But for whatever reasons, when the event was complete, then whatever lessons that these two energies, yourself or that person, or and with the extraterrestrials, happen for the sake of expansion. Yeah.
Yeah. Really good. Really good.
And I think when we're talking about extraterrestrials, a lot of people are thinking, they're on other planets. But we could even be talking about people on the other side of the galaxy, or entities on the other side of the galaxy, as well as interdimensionals, probably more so, interdimensionals that come in from other vibratory existences and visit us, and then they go back to their own. Could it?
Absolutely. We often, like you said, Augie, we often think that extraterrestrials live a gazillion light years away and we have to hyper jump from here to there. Well, that's really not the truth. Now, I understand that these extraterrestrials, listen, this is nuts. I understand these extraterrestrials, they use technology to open up time and space continuums so they can fold the point between A and B and arrive just like that. Now, with spiritual technology, masters or celestials, they are in tune with every molecule, every photon of light that makes up who we are, physical bodies, the chair you're sitting on, the spoon you eat with. And so inherent in these little individual packets of light, these quotients of light, if you will, there is a gateway in every one of those. And so some of these extraterrestrials, they don't really, like you said, Augie, they don't have to be in their hyperdimensionalness, if that's such a word. They're able to be here just by turning the switch. It's not a whole lot involved.
And we don't even know if we have any of those or partial beings of those. I mean, on this show right now. I mean, I've always had my suspicions about Augie.
Well, he's a Nordic.
Exactly. Precisely.
He's a Nordic.
I am an alien, and I got papers to prove it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's fantastic.
So, okay, so we'll come back, but can we just shift gears for a tiny minute, like into the spirituality? So, one morning in June, right, of 1996, something happened for you. What was that?
I was in a relationship for 10 years, went belly up. I moved from South Louisiana to Memphis halfway through that relationship. She eventually followed. But we were not getting along. She was my girlfriend. I was an aspiring musician. I leaned on her pretty hard for everything. Shelter, transportation, intimacy, food, just everything. And many years of fighting, and she got enough of all that. She left, and I had nothing. Everything, my happiness was so externally based. And I was in a dark night of the soul for 2 years. And then finally one day I said, you know what, today's the day. And when I was about 12 years old, my father introduced me to a guitar. So I started learning the guitar. And then for Christmas a few years later, I got an electric guitar. And that's it. I wanted a rock star and a girlfriend and live all that. Well, come 15 years old, there was another calling happening deep in my bones. And it was to become a Catholic priest. And I actually went to seminary school.
Wow.
Excuse me. To become a Catholic priest. And I just liked the guitar and the girl a little too much. And so God went in the closet and I began.
Instead of the guitar.
Yeah, right. And I lived that lifestyle for many, many years. And when she left, I was in that dark night of the soul. So I went inside of myself. My throat is scratchy. Get some water.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
Absolutely.
So God went in the closet when this girl left. Excuse me. Wow. I decided to go back to the closet, pulled God out. And I metaphorically, probably literal as well, dropped to my knees. And implying God, I said, I so need you right now. And now this may sound no different than anyone who says, God, I so need you right now. I don't know how I did it except to describe it in 4 components. Passion, sincerity, humility, and vulnerability. Somehow at this age of 28 years old, I knew that inherently. I just got on my knees and I said, I need this. And I was so fervent, though I asked this prayer 3 weeks to a month. It's not like God was sitting on a throne in the clouds and saying, look, he's been doing this for 3 weeks to a month. I'm convinced. Let's go down there and pay him a visit. Exactly. No, it was. I had to stay in my humility. So, but I knew it was my first asking that this was going to happen. So one night after playing at the casino, 7 grueling sets. This gig is an hour plus away. I'm just tired, and I'm awakened out of the morning by a voice that says, "Good morning, Keith. It's time for you to wake up." So I look around my room. There's no one there. And I had the intentions to lay back on the bed to go back to sleep. And I did just that. And immediately hear, "Good morning, Keith. I asked you to wake up." And the voice meant not only from your sleep, but from your human slumber.
Oh, wow.
And at that moment, I knew something was going on. I didn't know what. And there was no fear. Again, nothing was trying to take me beyond my free will.
Right.
And there was no time for fear. I was suddenly in presence. When the voice said, "Good morning, Keith, I did ask you to awake," I was thrown lovingly, violently back on the bed and my eyes closed, and I fell into this absolute experience. Now, when this experience began to happen, I didn't hear the voice like Moses in the burning bush. It wasn't like that, but there was an audible component to it. But I saw the voice, I smelled the voice, I tasted the voice, I knew the molecules, where they came from, where they were going. They call this a super conscious experience, or God, whatever you want to call it, highest intellect, grandma, Jesus, Buddha. And when this voice began, let's use the word speak. When this voice began to speak, it gave me a packet of light. This packet of light was impregnated in me, and it took my linear mind to allow it to unfold, to understand the language and the dialogue and what it was actually trying to impart to me. I call this whole thought, and I used my fragmented thought to understand this energy and level that was way beyond my mind, if you will. And the voice said, "Keith, go sit on the sofa, press record on your tape player. Close your eyes and let your mouth move." And I said, "Okay, what will I say?" And it says, "Trust me, Keith. The presence will be there." It called itself the presence. The presence will be there. And simply I just sat there. And this was the very first thing that's ever happened to me to this level spiritually as a vessel. And as soon as I exhaled that one breath, the presence was present. And it began dialoguing with me to the most far, not far out, but the most far in things I've ever heard to that point in my life.
Far in things. Wow.
Yeah, right.
What kind of things?
It took me a while, Augie, to learn how to discern, process, decode, understand what it was saying. At first, there were some thoughts that were passed through, like a river of consciousness just moving through my being. At that point in my life, I was so open. I was like an old payphone, people waiting in line to call home. I mean, there were like people lining up, and I was like, this has got to stop. And so eventually it found a balance. But I would get impressions that there were, when packets of light would be lovingly placed in me, and I knew in the next week or so, something was going to begin to unfold. And at first, because of my background before this birth here, this time on this earth, some of the old ancient world language began to surface. It was so powerful. Some part of me was inviting it because of the power. Another part of me was denying it because of the power.
Right. That makes sense. So with every packet of photons, packet of light delivered to you, or are they all impregnated? Were they all impregnated, or that one?
Yes, we call that now in the spiritual movement downloads.
Got it.
And this doesn't separate me or higher or lower from anybody else, but I think there's somewhat a difference. A download implies, it's sort of the same thing, but the energy is a lot higher for anyone who is fortunate enough to receive such packets. They have a lot more robustness. They're a lot more bold, a lot more delicate, actually. A lot more soft, but in that subtlety, there's such an amazing power, amazing punch, if you will. And it will begin to ooze its way out of my being into my consciousness, out of me, in the form of words.
Mm-hmm. So, just say it, Nori. We're kind of talking about channeling, right? If, for lack of a better word, or
That is true. It would be channeling. I'm pulling some energy from somewhere. Absolutely.
You call it vesseling.
I call it vesseling because, Nori, simply because there's so much negative connotation attached simply with the word to the word channeling, which is the correct word. And so, actually, Nori, later in most recent times now, in all my vesselings throughout my life, I'd say for the last year, 2 years, more so in the last year, more so in the last 6 months, it doesn't feel like that to me anymore. It doesn't feel like I'm pulling an energy from somewhere vesseling. Right. It feels like it's draping me. It's
So, okay, imagine, okay, tell me if this is anything, because we only have 3 minutes. Imagine that you're laying down, meditating, praying, whatever, and this haze of little particles of light, almost like a cloud, right, comes over you, and it's like the shape of you, but that goes over you and in you. Is it kind of like that, very natural like that, or?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's something that belongs to you, but you don't know what it is until it finally shows up. And when it shows up, it's like, I remember you. And it still may have some strangeness to it, but there's definitely an acquaintance to it. And when you begin to hang out with your new friend, they become your best friend. And in the friendship grows this amazing trust that when it turns within itself, the love that is given between you and your divine parent is simply blissful.
Wow, sounds amazing. Sounds delicious, actually.
So you were kind of channeling for yourself. And by doing that, now you recorded this so you could be better suited to remember?
Yeah, I did record these sessions every day. And some of the strangest energies and energy groups would come in. The Council of 12, the Council of 9, Ra, Yeshua, Mary, the Virgin.
You're busy.
Yeah, and I said, guys, come in one being, and I'll just paint you picture in your faces over all of the one energy, and everybody gets their credit, okay? But I had to somewhat I did take responsibility to say, okay, enough's enough. Yeah. Bring me one powerful person that I can connect with that is a higher version of myself so I can receive information very, very clearly, so I can be articulate and clear myself.
Love it. It sounds amazing. So we've got 1 minute to break, but can you give us a hint? Who is Nucleus 8?
Nucleus 8 is a 4,740-ish Euro alien human hybrid who lives on a solar station in another dimension about 27,000 light years away from here. And he is head of security in this quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy.
And with that, we'll take a break. We'll be back with Keith Anthony Richard on the other side.
This is the Broadcast Team Alpha Show, hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. The one show that takes your doubts of the unknown and spins them into reality. Share your thoughts by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More cutting-edge conversation and exploration of the quantum universe after this. Immerse yourself in an epic journey through time where ancient mysteries unfold within a story of love and betrayal, as well as a battle of good versus evil in The Emissary Book 1. The reader's favorite Gold Medal Award winner for Visionary Fiction 2019, the action and adventure of The Emissary continues in The Emerald Tablet, Book 2. The 2019's Bronze Medal Award winner, The Emissary and The Emerald Emerald Tablet by Tamara Veach and Rennie DeFazio are both available now on Amazon.com. Let your reading adventure begin.
Great.
It's great. I think it's great.
The all-new KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Great.
Make a note of it.
It's great.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge.
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Looking for a radio show like no other?
We need something brand new.
Then tune into the KCOR Digital Radio Network, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and get ready for The Quantum Shift. A great shift of consciousness is sweeping across the Earth. Are you ready for the dimensional shift?
It is amazing, is it not?
The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Hosted by Dr. Sam Muggsy and Kent Dunn. Be part of the fifth dimensional reality, where consciousness prevails and the universal law of one is the only true reality. The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Going live.
Come explore the quantum possibilities. This is Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
To be on the show live, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. Share your thoughts of the show on Twitter at KCOR Radio, #KCOR. Or join the cutting edge conversation live in our chat room at KCORradio.com. Now back to Broadcast Team Alpha with your free thinking hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nast.
Woohoo! We are back. Big shout out to the chat room. As always, is the beautiful, talented, and rich Tina Marie. Condor 3 is here. David Cook. Doc Who is here. Haha. Hello. Haha. Iowa Girl. Jackie. JC. Joe Marco. Karen. Hello. Yanava is here. Linda Gould. Lisa. Madeline. Naj, Rob, Yappy is here, Z is here, and I think there's more of you. Forgive me if I didn't get to you. I have a limited view on my screen tonight, so we so grateful that you're here with us. So grateful that you're sharing the light and raising vibration. This is an amazing show. Augie, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I got a little bit of a housekeeping here for about 45 seconds. And I want to talk to you guys out there that is in business, or if you have a product or service to sell, we might be able to help you. Get in touch with us because we are reaching thousands of people every week, and chances are we can help you move some of that stuff that you have. So otherwise, here's a tip to you that is listening on the KCOR website. There is this wonderful little feature down at the bottom of the website. It's a donation button. If you click on that donation button and do whatever you can, it'll help us a lot. It will tell us that we are doing the right But of course, if you can't, that is perfectly all right. We love you. We're glad you're here listening. Otherwise, we'll be just the 3 or 4 of us here. And that wouldn't be any fun. We love you here. So I want to then also say to our guest here, Keith Anthony Blanchard, that I have listened to your radio shows that you are doing every week. In fact, that you do several a week sometimes. And I love it. It gets deep and it touches my heart every time I listen. And I'm kind of, there are times when I have come away from listening to your show and my eyes are wet, because this is something that reaches the soul of people. And that's why I think you guys should listen in to his radio shows. And he's going to, in just a second here, he's going to let you know where you can do that. So back to you, Keith.
Hello.
Hi. So Augie, something's changed. I just want to talk about this for a minute. I don't want this moment to go by. You've gotten, I don't know, you feel things so much more deeply lately. What has happened?
Oh, maybe it is one of them mysteries.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we have our mystic here tonight, so
yeah, there you go.
Before we find out, so can we go back to who Nucleus 8 is and how do you know him, Keith?
1997 and 3/4, 1998. I was going to a metaphysical church called the Connection Center, and they would have these Sunday sessions every other week. And so I had a sister friend by the name of Laura, sort of a friend like you are to me, Nori. That's brother-sister kind of love. And she was very goofy. And so while waiting in line for the doors to open, she was ahead of me about 60 feet to go into this facility. She comes bouncing down the queue and hugs and kisses me and says, "Hey, Keith, what are you doing?" And blah, 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 meet and greet. "Keith, do you want to meet an alien being?" And I said, "Well, this is Laura being goofy." And she was being goofy, but there was something about it that was serious, because I could see the way she was glinting at me, looking at me. And I said, "Okay." She says, "Follow me." She gave me that finger, "Follow me." So I followed her. And as we approached the corner wall of the building where the beginning of the line started, where she was initially, I didn't know what to expect. A little green man to jump out from behind the building and say "Nanu, Nanu," or "Live long and prosper." I had no idea. Right. So she brings me up to the backside of this 5'1" woman. And I walk up to the behind this woman. And as soon as I got to her, Laura says, "Keith, meet Nucleus 8.
Wow.
Keith, meet Nucleus 8, meet Keith Blanchard." And when the woman turned around, it was not the woman at all. It was a superimposement, not necessarily a vesseling or channeling. It's a little deeper than that, a little more connected than that. The energy that came out was very, very robust, very masculine, and very full of himself.
Wow.
And he says, "What a way to greet somebody." He says, "What do you want from me?"
Oh.
What? And I said, and he says, "You want some help with that?" I said, "Sure." He says, "You want data." It's like, that's such a strange word, data. Uh-huh. And so when we shook hands, he started laughing, and I realized that he was just lightening the mood. Now, even though it looks like the woman, when you are in the presence of this energy, it's not that at all. I befriended Nucleus 8 for about 4.5 years, spent time with him off and on, and experienced some of the most phenomenal things that he's done through, with me, for me, because just all these supernatural, if you will, things that would happen simply just by him being present and making it happen.
Wow. Where was he from, or it from?
He is from a planetary station 27,000 light years away from here in another dimension. Now his mother was a tall gray alien. She was not nice at all.
So that's where he got his manners from. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And his father was an Egyptian king. Now his name Nucleus 8 is for a reason. Nucleus 8 was grown with the purpose to be head of security, which he now is, for this quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. The number 8 in his name is because he's number 8 on a board of 12, a galactic federation. Now, he's 4,740 something years old. Nucleus, being the head of security, he had to go with a team and extinguish his own mother and her clan.
Wow.
This is how deep-seated this went for him. And to make a very long story short, because Star One, the woman that I met and then Nucleus was in, she was married to Dr. Rex Hare, a 40-year clinical psychologist. But she first met Dr. Rex Hare because she went to him for a session because she had a lot of traumatic experiences in childhood. And so these extraterrestrials and other beings said, fine, we'll take care of you. When you get older, this work needs to be done. So the first session, Dr. Rex Hare put his patient under. And what stepped up was a fairy by the name of Perithnia. And she said, if you think you're going to come in here and traumatize her like what happened to her in the past, I'm going to stop you myself.
Wow.
And so fairies, angels, archangels, shamans, and then Nucleus 8 finally steps in. And Rex decided to call in some of his peers, his colleagues, and say, guys, I need your help. And so after about 15 minutes into a session, when they were all present, they said, good luck with this one.
Wow. I would love to have been there. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. So now, is all this in the book?
No.
No?
The book is very heavily spiritual. There are glimpses where I touch base with spirit and say, Keith, what about this time you met your alien friend? And we go to a dialogue surrounding that. But anyone wants to learn, you can find it on Amazon. It's $3. Each book, there are 5 books for the 15-year experience by Dr. Rex Hare. They are now divorced. He eventually married her, and they're still in love. But she and her new husband live in Egypt.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Wow. Wow.
But Nucleus lives on this space station, and he uses his will to superimpose her. So he has awareness or can monitor 6 dimensions. So he can be where he wants to be when he wants to be there.
Very cool. I like him. I like it. So,
yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, it sounds very cool. My goodness.
Go ahead, Nori.
Thank you. It's very nice of you. Can we just talk about the book? How did you choose the name?
I'm falling in. 1996, when this all began to go down. About 6 months into it, I went to my bedroom and fell into a sweet spot, really honey hole. And I said, what is my soul's name? And I heard right immediately. In fact, the question was not separate from the answer. The answer was the question. I said, what is my soul's name? And when I finished, it was Yanava. I liked the way it sounded. It was simple and had a rhythm to it. And people who know me for many years, I used to call myself, my brand then was the Yana-O Center of Light. So somehow, and this has been with me for many years. And then a few years ago, when I had the opportunity to interview God on Earth Today, Swamiji Visvayogi, you did good with that, Agi. Good attempt on that, bro. After we did the entire interview, he says, any more questions for me? I said, yes, a personal one. He said, yes. And I said, many years ago, I told the story to him that I just said, that I asked my soul's name. And when I said, what does Yanava mean? He said, what? Almost as if he was taken back. And I said, what does Yanava means? He says, you all listen to me very carefully. He says, Yaha, Naha, Vaha. He says, these are the primordial ancient seed syllables of the sacred self. In other words, when we're all the Godhead, there's only one experience. It is as if we chose to become individuals. That one tier down from being the full in the allness to having at least an individuality or an identity now, that would be Yanava.
So I have another question.
Yes.
Really not scripted ones. how much of your Catholic experience do you draw upon still?
Good question. It is me. I don't live in the dogma of it. I live in the celebratory nature of Catholicism, which is, it's one of the most participatory religions. Again, I don't follow the dogma or the doctrine, so to speak.
Right.
I follow the way and the meaning and the beacon that it is for all that exists within it. That means anything that can mean anything at all. But this comes from my old world, my time before this time. So when this kind of energy was being birthed, if you will, wanting to be that Catholic priest was the reminder and the validation of that memory for me. I understand. I know that the Catholic Church is going to be the last church standing. That.
Yeah. So, so the thing that I'm sorry, Augie, one more thing and I'll shut up. Do you love about the Catholic Church, like when you were learning and when you were, so, I mean, we're wondrous now, but we're wondrous on a different level. But when, like, that initial innocence, wondrousness, and you kind of fall into the rituals and the magic, and do you still love that about the Catholic Church? The way that it teaches you to pray and fall within? Latin masses make me go within.
I've been wanting to take my son into a Catholic church and just sit in there when nothing's going on. One, I like the majesty of it all. I like the royalty, the regal nature of the true doctrine and the true reason for such a pillar we call the Catholic Church. The architecture, the drawings, the temple that it is, the tabernacle, the way the priests dress. And I'm not talking about those kinds of people. I'm talking about the people who are sincere in their vocation of being of service. I like that way, the garb they wear. It reminds me of the old world that I played in another time. And so it's all reminiscent for me in such a beautiful way. I just collect it all and use it as power that I can deliver for that which brings me joy, which is people.
And the old world, are you at liberty to speak of that, or?
I came from a time about 2,000 years ago. I did quite a few things, and I'm now here doing the same thing. Earlier, when you asked me what is Yanava, Yah is in the heart. It is the heart. Yah is God, will, power, presence, passion. Na is the mind, which is clarity, right discernment, right judgment, high vibrational thinking. Va is the backbone. It's the backbone that carries out the action of the will, which is the Yah, and the clear mind to use as a tool to focus that Yah, and the backbone simply carries it out. This is what I did 2,000 years ago. I really don't like talking about this, but your heart is open, Augie, Nori, so I'll divulge it to you. I lived a life in the past as the Baptist. Now, this brought lots of questions for me. I had to follow this rabbit into the hole to ever understand this time of this go-round here on this rock we call Earth. I did talk this over with Swamiji Viswayogi. So basically, I am here doing the same work I did last time, bringing about the entrance of the Christ. Now, not only do I mean the Christ consciousness that lives within everyone. That's true. Everyone knows that to be the spiritual truth. I am talking about truly, honestly examining the truth, the experience, and the reality that is on this planet today as not the Christ, though it is the Christ, but the personality of the one we know as Jesus. So I am here as that bridge to the soul to announce the, quote, second coming.
Yes, and you just answered my question about crossing.
It's very, very awkward for me to play in that because there's so much around it and it's so powerful. That's when it reminds me of that Catholic kind of experience, and I have to be careful because I'm here to be with people and not to freak them out.
So, do you think, sense, feel, no, do you think Mary is going to bring the second coming back in? I mean, why not?
He's actually here now. He's been here for 20 years.
Wow.
This experience happened on Satya Sai Baba's ashram in 2000. Long story. That would be a show in and of itself. How this all simply just beautifully manifested from a dream I had one night when I was sleeping. 3 months later, I'm in India for free, standing in the garden of God, giving me this prophetic vision. So.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to be quiet.
I got a question I've been itching to ask you, and that is, after being with these higher spiritual beings and including the extraterrestrials and communicated with them and gleaned their knowledge and wisdom, what do you see happening in our future? Because I know you must have talked to them about that.
What is happening in our future? What is happening to your future, whoever you are, is what is happening to you right now. Simply ask yourself the question, do I like what's happening to me right now? Without judging anything or labeling anything, I'm asking you to ask yourself that question. Is it fun being me? Don't be hard on yourself. Just evaluate. Test yourself to gauge. Use your barometer of joy, bliss, passion, fire, will, love. You deserve all that is good. Use that as your stick. And when you measure yourself by asking, how do I feel about my life and what's happening in it in this moment, is where your liberation lies.
A lot of people are looking around right now and they see, oh, everything's falling apart. You got misery. You got all kinds of crap out there that just is not good. And that's all they see. But it's going to be good in the end. Or actually, there is no end. It's going to be good afterwards because there is a plan behind it. And that is what I see. I think it's coming out wonderful for mankind. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally. It depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
You know, I want to offer a serious spiritual vitamin. Is that when we look out in the world, this noisy place, yet this beautiful paradise that is unfolding, people are dying to keep the old world alive. They are dying to keep the old world alive. They're living to die, basically. And so what is happening definitely is, if you're not happy with yourself, I strongly suggest, support you in finding myself or any other teacher that would help you align yourself, because what you're experiencing, pro, con, in, out, good, bad, hot, cold, up, down, holy, blasphemous, is only going to increase unless, you mean there's something other than increase or decrease? There is something else. So you're not living in a world of duality unless you are. The outside, the inside. I only have one or two choices. I can only choose this or that. When you fall into this category, you are in jail. Well, Keith, in one choice always better, but that you're still falling into a prison. There is another place that exists. It's moving through me. There's another place that exists beyond what you think is happening. What you think is happening isn't, and what you think is not happening likely is. That third choice is what you call the Holy Spirit, the one that comes in lovingly and gracefully, kisses you on your face, and rectifies your problem. There is no right choice nor wrong choice. All there is you, the observer, simply making choices. Ask yourself, do I like me in this moment?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, did you ever go on to one of the ships, or did you have any experience where you were taken aboard?
Yes, many times. The other night I had an experience with a Venusian by the name of Sketcher.
Sketcher, how cool. Do you have any star kids? Do you have any star children?
I would think I would.
Yeah.
In my promiscuity. I
knew it.
Years ago at least. But I've been aboard many craft. Here's what's magical about these experiences for me. These higher level beings really don't need the craft. Maybe they're using craft because it makes me feel that I'm somewhere else. I don't know. But I just know that when I get on these craft, there are children everywhere. Human children, hybrid human children, alien human children, alien children, of all colors, of all sizes, of all whatevers. And the whole system receives its energy, its purpose are the children, the curious little children bouncing around as these cute little alien kids all getting along, flying across the galaxy. I can't explain it. It's the children that this whole system drives. So what on these ships, they all look similar to what we experience: a living room, sofa, things to do. So it's not so futuristic or Star Trekky, but it does have that feel as well.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh gosh, we only got about 2.5 minutes left of the show. So Keith, tell us a little bit about where people can get a hold of you and where they can get the book. And I will say one thing about your books also is that, you know, for people out there that want to elevate their spirituality, they need to associate with successful and spiritual people. And you can associate without actually being in the presence, and that starts with reading books. So tell them about your books.
You could find me and my work at centeroflightradio.com or keithanthonyblanchard.com. Same website. Go to the Creations tab. You'll see everything there. My website is packed. You can order, which I just posted the link a few minutes ago, a couple of times, to pre-order Homecoming Crossing the Bridge to the Soul Now, which is due out August 1st. Like I said, you can pre-order that. But you can also go to youtube.com/Center of Light Radio to be a part of my ongoing, pretty much everyday output, just simply being in the garden gate of samadhi, unifying with spirit, and making myself vulnerable to allow people to watch that unfold.
I'm wrapped.
Wow, that's good.
Yanava, I am just so grateful and overjoyed to have been in your presence for the past almost hour. It's so good to connect with you again. Thank
you. Blessings to Augie, blessings to Nori, blessings to Tina. You are all loved beyond measure. What a fantastic platform. It's very powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, you are so loved back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, do you want to say goodbye, Augie?
Yeah, I would say goodbye to everybody for now, and watch us also on the Broadcast Team Alpha, and we'll be back next week, and we will see you then, and until then, be good to each other.
You've been listening to Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
Hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. Every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The balance of power is shifting to a new paradigm. Will you be ready? For more information on Broadcast Team Alpha, as well as the hosts Nori Love and Augie Nost, please visit their website at broadcastteamalpha.com. Until next week, remember to keep those minds open while always exploring the endless quantum possibilities.
Broadcast Team Alpha. Over and out.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51. Wait, that doesn't exist.